The Dallas Cowboys might be about to make one of the biggest free agency splashes we have seen in years. And if you are not paying attention right now, you are going to miss everything that is happening behind the scenes. So before we dive into all of this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because here at Cowboys Live News, we are covering every single update the moment it drops. And trust me, you do not want to be the last one to hear about the moves Dallas is making this offseason. Now let me tell you what is going on, because there are 4 names that keep popping up in connection with the Cowboys, and each one of them could completely change the direction of this roster heading into next season. We are talking about Rico Dowdle, the running back who already knows this system inside and out. We are talking about Devin Lloyd, one of the best young linebackers in the entire league. We are talking about Quincy Williams, the brother of Cowboys defensive tackle Quincy Williams, which makes this almost too perfect. And we are talking about Trey Hendrickson, a pass rusher who could finally give Dallas that dominant edge presence they have been desperate for. So let me ask you something right now, before we get into all of the details. How many outside free agents do you think the Cowboys actually end up signing this offseason? Drop that number in the comments, because I genuinely want to know what you are expecting from this front office. Now let us start with Rico Dowdle, because here is where things get interesting. This man just came out and said publicly that he would not be opposed to returning to Dallas. And when a player says that, you have to pay attention. He did not say he wants to come back. He did not say he is begging for a deal. What he said is that he is leaving the door open. And if his agent and the man above decide that Dallas is the best fit for his next step, then he is absolutely willing to make that move. That is significant because Rico had a really solid season in Carolina. We are talking about 4.6 yards per carry. We are talking about production that was almost identical to what he did last year in Dallas. 1 more carry for 3 fewer yards. Think about how wild that is. The man literally replicated his numbers almost exactly, and even scored more touchdowns because the Panthers actually got him opportunities in the red zone. Now here is the thing that nobody is really talking about. One projection has him getting a 2-year deal worth around $17 million, while another projection puts him closer to 2 years and $13 million. My gut tells me the lower number is probably more realistic, because here is the reality of the running back market right now. There are a lot of quality backs hitting free agency. Kenneth Walker is out there. Breece Hall could be available. Travis Etienne is a name to watch. Javonte Williams, who the Cowboys already know and love, is still in the mix. Tyler Algier from Atlanta is another option. Somebody in that group is going to be left without a starting job, and nobody wants to be that guy. So what does that mean? It means running backs might be willing to take a little bit less money just to secure a spot, and that could work in Dallas' favor if they play this right. But here's the crazy part. The Cowboys already have a decision to make with Javonte Williams, and by all accounts, that relationship worked incredibly well last season. Better than a lot of people expected, honestly. I thought Rico might have been the better piece to keep around, but the Cowboys were right. They nailed the Javonte signing. He fits this system. He works in Dallas. So the question becomes, do you stick with the guy who brought you to the dance? Or do you go chasing something else? And let me be clear, picking a running back for this scheme matters, because what Dallas does up front in the ground game is different than what a lot of other teams are doing. So drop a comment right now. Are you Team Javonte or are you Team Rico? Let me know, because this is going to be one of the more interesting decisions of the offseason. Now let us shift gears and talk about Devin Lloyd, because this is where things get really exciting for Cowboys fans. Lloyd has expressed interest in staying with Jacksonville. He has talked about how his mom lives there, and he has roots in that city. But here is what you need to understand. Just because a player wants to stay somewhere does not mean the team is going to pay him. One report from a league insider who covers the Jaguars suggests that Jacksonville is unlikely to use the franchise tag on Lloyd. And if that happens, he is hitting the open market. The estimated franchise tag for linebackers is sitting around $27 million, and that is a massive number for a linebacker who does not rush the passer. Now that number is inflated because the NFL has this weird thing where they classify edge rushers as linebackers. So guys at the top of that position skew everything. But the point remains. Jacksonville probably is not tagging him, which means Lloyd will be available. And then it becomes a question of what does he get on the open market. Here is where it gets tricky. One projection has him at 3 years and $48 million, which works out to $16 million per year. Another projection has him at 3 years and $60 million, which is $20 million per year. That is a massive gap.
$16 million per year would still make him a top 5 paid linebacker in the league.
$20 million per year would make him the second highest paid linebacker, period. The market last year really settled around that $15 million per year range. Guys like Nick Bolton and Jamin Davis-Sherwood got deals in that neighborhood. But the market goes up every single year. So let us split the difference and say Lloyd gets something around $18 million per year. Here is my question to you. If the Cowboys have to pay $18 million a year for Devin Lloyd, are you doing that deal? Because let me tell you why this matters. Dallas is about to completely overhaul their linebacker room. Logan Wilson is probably not coming back. Kenneth Murray better not be coming back, and I do not think he will be. Damone Clark has not been able to stay healthy. Maris Liufau is still a question mark about whether he even fits what this team wants to do.
Shamar James was a late-round pick who honestly shows some of those same issues that made Murray so frustrating.
So the linebacker position is wide open, and Devin Lloyd had a phenomenal season. The raw numbers might not jump off the page, but when you watch the tape, this guy was impactful in coverage. He broke up a bunch of passes. He picked off 5 interceptions, which is insane production for a linebacker. His coverage skills took a huge leap forward, and he was a massive reason why the Jaguars' defense played so well this year. I would absolutely be interested if I am the Cowboys. The Jaguars want to keep him, but once a player hits free agency, all bets are off, and Dallas needs to be aggressive here. But here is what nobody is talking about. There is a cheaper option that might make even more sense, and his name is Quincy Williams. The Jets linebacker has become a popular name among Cowboys fans, and the connection is almost too obvious.
Quincy is the brother of Quinnen Williams, who is already on the Cowboys' defensive line.
There have been reports that Quincy was constantly texting his brother about practices and team stuff, even when they were not on the same roster. It was like force of habit, because these two are so close. I have jokingly called Quincy a pre-Cowboy, because it just feels like this move is destined to happen. The need is massive, the family connection is there, and he is not going to cost nearly as much as Devin Lloyd. One projection has him at a 1-year deal worth around $9 million, and honestly, I wonder if that could come down to $7 or $8 million. Now I have to be honest with you. Quincy did take a step back last season, especially in coverage. His yards per catch allowed went from 7.7 in 2023, which is excellent, to 9.4, which is okay, to almost 12 this past year, which is not great. The tackle numbers are still solid.
8 tackles for loss,
3.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups. But the coverage issues are real, and the Jets were a complete disaster this year, which might explain some of the decline. They randomly benched him at one point, and then put him back in the lineup, and the whole thing was bizarre. So the question is whether Quincy can bounce back in a better environment, with a better coaching staff, and playing alongside his brother. I think there is real value here if the Cowboys can get him at the right price. And then we have to talk about Trey Hendrickson, because this is the name that has Cowboys fans absolutely buzzing. One recent report listed Dallas as a top 3 destination for Hendrickson in free agency. The Colts came in at number 1, which makes a lot of sense. The Bears were at number 2. The Cowboys were right there at number 3, and the 49ers rounded out the top 4.
This is a legitimate possibility, And if Dallas lands Hendrickson, it would be the most significant defensive addition in years. But here is the reality check. This is going to cost serious money. One projection has him at 2 years and $51 million, which is about $25 million per year. Another projection suggests he might take a 1-year prove-it deal worth around $21 million. And here is why the numbers are all over the place. Hendrickson was not as dominant this past season. He dealt with a hip issue that required surgery, and that is a real concern for teams. Before the injury, he was consistently putting up 17.5 sacks per season. He was the one reliable pass rusher on the Bengals. He lived up to every dollar of his contract. But now he is 32 years old coming off an injury, and teams are going to be cautious. The thing is, the free agent crop for pass rushers is not great this year. So even an older guy with some injury concerns could still find himself in a bidding war. I genuinely do not know if Hendrickson wants a 1-year deal or if he is going to push for long-term security. Taking a 1-year contract means betting on himself to prove he is fully healthy, but at his age, that is a risky game. So what do you think? What is the % chance the Cowboys actually go out and sign Trey Hendrickson? Drop your prediction in the comments because I really want to see where the fan base is at on this one. Here is my overall take on this situation. The Cowboys have real needs at running back, at linebacker, and at edge rusher. They have options at every single position, and the prices are going to vary wildly depending on how the market shakes out. Rico Dowdle makes sense if you want continuity and familiarity at running back. Devin Lloyd makes sense if you want to invest in a young playmaking linebacker who can transform your defense. Quincy Williams makes sense if you want a cheaper option with a built-in locker room connection. And Trey Hendrickson makes sense if you are ready to spend big money on a pass rusher who can change games when healthy. The question is, which direction does Dallas go, and how aggressive are they willing to be? This front office does not usually win bidding wars. They do not typically go out and make splash signings in free agency. But maybe this is the year that changes. Maybe Jerry Jones looks at this roster and decides it is time to make a statement. We are going to be covering every single move live as it happens, so if you are not already subscribed, now is the time to join the Cowboys Live News family, because free agency is about to get wild, and you are going to want to be here for all of it. Let me know in the comments which of these 4 players you want Dallas to target most. Is it Rico? Is it Lloyd? Is it Quincy? Is it Hendrickson? Or do you want them to go after multiple guys? I want to hear your takes, because this is what makes this community so great. We are all in this together as Cowboys fans, and these next few weeks are going to determine what this team looks like heading into next season. Drop your thoughts below, and I will see you in the next one.